Pastoralist, a farmer who breeds and takes care of animals. Nomads are people who do not live in one place but move from one area to another to earn their living. Gujar Bakarwals of Jammu and Kashmir are great herders of goat and sheep. They migrated to this region in the 19th century. The Gadi shepherds of Himachal Pradesh had a similar cycle of seasonal movement. They too spent their winter in the low hills of Sivalik range, grazing their flocks in scrub forests. Dhangards were an important pastoral community of Maharashtra. Most of them were shepherds, some were blanket weavers, and still others were buffalo herders. The Gollas, the Kurumas, and Kurubas reared sheep and goats in dry central plateau of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Banjaras were yet another well-known group of gazers. Banjaras were to be found in the villages of Uttar Pradesh. Raikas lived in the desert of Rajasthan. They combined cultivation with pastoralism. Under colonial rule, the life of pastoralists changed dramatically. Their grazing grounds shrank, their movement was regulated, and the revenue they had to pay increased. Colonial officials found all uncultivated land appeared to be unproductive. It produced neither revenue nor agricultural produce. It was seen as wasteland that needed to be brought under cultivation. Second, by the mid-19th century, various forest acts were also being enacted in the different provinces. Some customary grazing rights of pastoralists were granted, but their movements were severely restricted. The British officials were suspicious of nomadic people. They distrusted mobile craftsmen and traders who hawked their goods. In 1871, the colonial government in India passed the Criminal Tribes Act. By this act, many communities of craftsmen, traders, and pastoralists were classified as criminal tribes. Pastoralists had to pay tax on every animal they grazed, the pastures called grazing tax. The measures by colonial government led to a serious shortage of pastures. The grazing lands were taken over and turned into cultivated fields. It led to the decline of the available area of pasture land. After 1947, the camel and sheep herding Raikas, for instance, could no longer move into Sindh and graze their camel on the banks of Indus because of new political boundaries between India and Pakistan. In Africa, communities like Bedouins, Berbers, Massia, Somali, Buron, and Turkana depend on some form of pastoral activity for their livelihood. Like pastoralists in India, the lives of African pastoralists have changed dramatically over the colonial and post-colonial periods. The Maasai cattle herders live primarily in East Africa, South Kenya, and another in Tanzania. The Maasai lost about 60% of their pre-colonial lands. They were confined to an arid zone with uncertain rainfall and poor pastures. But from the colonial period, the Maasai were bounded down to a fixed area. This resulted in large number of Maasai cattle died of starvation and disease in these years of drought. In pre-colonial times, Maasai society was divided into two social categories, elder and warriors. One, the elder formed the ruling group and met in periodic councils to decide on the affair of the community and settle disputes. 2. The warrior consists of young people mainly responsible for the protection of the tribe. To administer the affair of the Maasai, the British appointed chiefs of different subgroups of Maasai who were made responsible for the affair of the tribe. The chiefs appointed by the colonial government often accumulated wealth over time. The life history of the poor pastoralists who depended only on their livestock did not have the resources to tide over bad times. Environmentalists and economists have increasingly come to recognize that pastoral nomadism is a form of life that is perfectly suited to many hilly and dry regions of the world.